Hello plant friends, I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy out there in real life land. In this episode we will be talking about humidifiers. I have 4 with me, so I'll show and we'll do some comparison and contrasting, and I'll talk about the pros and cons of them, mostly related to plants since this is a plant channel. If you're using them for health reasons or because you're having a lot of like bloody noses because your air is too dry, then these will work for you as well. But I will probably try to tailor this towards plant related stuff. Before I get started, I also want to say that there are a lot of like mixed opinions regarding humidifiers. Some people swear by them and some people don't care for them at all. I think a lot of it comes down to location, where you are, where you're living, your natural environment, and also by preference, right? So I suspect wherever you are, if it's cold outside during the winter or anywhere, and you have or need a heater or heating source of any type, humidifiers will probably help you out during the winter months. During the summer, it's in warmer weather, it really depends on where you are. If you're in a really humid place, you don't need them. If you're in a really dry, deserty place, then you will probably benefit from humidifiers year round. So I will leave that decision up to you and what you think is best. But let's just get started and talk about a few humidifiers that I have with me. So this one, I don't even know the name or the brand of this. I will just call this a generic, cheap, economical, basic humidifier that you can find pretty much anywhere, right? This is like the lowest budgeted option. I think I got this one at Costco, and it was like 2 for 30 or 40 bucks or something like that. This one has 3 settings. So this is the high, and then there's off, low, medium, and then high. Right, and I think this one turns on the light. Okay, yeah. When this humidifier runs out of water, then the light or this button in the front turns red and it just automatically shuts off. I think that that's a safety precaution that is pretty standard on all humidifiers. So I think in terms of safety, they're pretty much all basically the same. Let me see what the pros of this humidifier is. I would say 1 is that it's cheap, very, very affordable. 2, it sort of matches with my decor, which I think is sort of important. The other thing is that it's really, really simple. You just turn it on, 3 levels, it produces enough mist, and yeah, super simple and easy to operate. Let's just talk about the cons, right? The cons is that it's not automatic. Some people are looking for an automatic humidifier that just turns on and off depending on the humidity range. So we'll look at the humidifiers that do that a little bit later. And then let me see another con. Okay, another con, a big con for this humidifier, and I think a lot of humidifiers, is the way that I have to refill the water. All right, so I'm going to turn this guy off. And so I have my Brita here. I don't use filtered water for my plants, but I do use filtered water for my humidifiers. In Los Angeles, we have really hard water, so I think that this just helps reduce the mineral buildup. Right, so this humidifier is I gotta clean it quite a bit. This humidifier is a bottom fill humidifier, right? So I have to take it off, rotate this thing, unscrew this, and then I have to refill it. And I'm not gonna refill it all the way. I'm just showing you guys. So I have to refill it, then plug it back on. I'm not refilling it all the way because this guy needs a pretty good clean. And then I have to put it back on, right? Or put the water tank back, and then start up the humidity again. Oh, another good thing about this is that the tank holds a lot of water. So I think this is, it's quite a lot. Here's the Brita for comparison. Here's a paper towel roll for comparison. So it holds quite a bit of water. And I think if you're looking for a cheap humidifier, you really want that if your space allows it. Because the bigger the water tank, the less often you have to refill it. And in the course of months and maybe even years, it really, really adds up. I used to think it's not that big of a deal to just like refill it every day or every other day, but honestly, the more you can space it out, the better. You know, if you're talking about planting and indoor gardening or gardening of any sort, there's a lot of things that you have to juggle or do. So just, you know, decreasing the amount of work any way you can, it really, really adds up, and it really adds to the longevity of the hobby, your sanity, it really maximizes all the positive things about planting and decreases the negatives. Okay, so if you're looking for, or you're in the market and your budget only allows you for the cheapest option out there, find one with a large water capacity, right? The cheap ones do not have the automatic, on-off thing. They don't have the sensors that measure and react to humidity levels. But realistically, all you need to do is just set this guy on low or medium or whatever you want and just leave it there, right? You just leave it there 24 hours or however, turn it on and forget it or something. So realistically, I think that that's a very cheap alternative to people who need something like automatic, right? It's not automatic, but it functions pretty well in terms of just keeping your humidity level at a high range. So I do this for this guy sometimes, especially during the winters. I just have it on, probably on low, medium. It's probably a bit too much for my environment. High is definitely, too much if I wanted to keep this on all the time. But I normally just keep it on a low setting, which is just like a little bit, and I basically just keep it on. When the water runs out after a couple of days, then it automatically turns off. That works really well for me. On the lowest setting, this probably lasts like almost a week or something like that. So it perfectly functional, and like I said, super cheap, simple, economic option. All right, so I am going to turn this guy off so we can move on to our next humidifier. Okay, so this one I saw somewhere. But so this brand is the RENPHO. Most of the humidifiers I'm going to talk about, I think this one and the next couple, I actually have links in the description below and also on my Amazon storefront. So you can check out the humidifiers that I recommend and support the channel as well if you're getting one, and click through the link and stuff. Okay, so what I liked about this one was, I think this one is currently about like $30 or so. This one is also what I consider a simple humidifier. This is a new one, obviously. And let me plug it in for you guys. Okay. Okay, this one only has one button. Okay, so there's no water currently, so there we go. But I think the reason why this thing really stood out to me, for some reason the legs aren't, my table isn't perfectly straight, so this thing is wobbly. The reason, because this one, in comparison to the other one, the first one we looked at, this one is a top filling, right? So this one I can fill just like this, right, by by sort of removing this little plastic thing, or I can just take it off and fill it even more. All right. In terms of capacity, this one is probably about a half the capacity of the first humidifier that we looked at. So much smaller tank. And then let's turn this thing on. This is cute, right? I mean, I think this thing looks really, really adorable. Okay, let's do. I think this is level 2. And this is level 3. So, the drawback of this one obviously is the smaller tank capacity. So that means that whatever level of humidity you're using, if you're leaving it on for extended periods of time, you're just going to have to refill it more often. But I think that this one is way, way better in terms of functionality and practicality, because it's just like, it's so easy to refill this. Look. Right? Like, you can do that way more readily and simply than the other one where you have to, invert the tank, unscrew something, pour in water, screw it back, and then put the tank back on. I mean, super, super simple. I really like the look of this. It looks super simple, but somehow I really get a kick out of this one. So yeah, so this is, like I said, I think this one goes for like $30-40 or something. I also classify this as a more economical, cheaper option, but if you can, and if you're, I haven't looked too much into, all the types of humidifiers out there, because there's so many types, but I would highly recommend looking for a top filling humidifier if you can, right? Like, so I would take this humidifier over the other one. I would probably have to fill this probably twice as much, but filling this is, or twice as often, but filling this guy is, I would say, 4 or 5 times more pleasant and easier than the other options, right? So there we go. Okay. So many of you guys probably recognize this. There are lots of reviews out there on this one. This is the Levoit humidifier. This is probably the hottest, the most popular humidifier used by indoor planters that use humidifiers. I think when you look at it, you can sort of see why. It's really, it's a really good looking humidifier, right? It's a good looking humidifier. When we're talking about tank capacity, right? A really good size tank. This one is on the more expensive side in terms of humidifiers, mostly because it has a humidifier, a humidity sensor, as well as it's automatic, as in you can set it so that, if it senses that your environment is below a certain humidity, it will automatically just kind of like start. And then once it gets, I think like a couple percentage points higher, it'll just automatically stop. So I think that is good. I think the sensor is, it kind of tells you what your humidity level is currently. So I think that's kind of cool for those of you guys who are really interested. I think that is neat. This one also has a warm mist and a cool mist and a warm mist option. The cheaper humidifiers only really have like a cool mist. This one has a warm mist option. I would say that most people would agree that warm mist will increase the humidity faster or maintain it better than a cool mist. I just don't like the warm mist. Well, now that it's winter, maybe I'll maybe I'll try it. But I've always used the cool mist option setting, so that's never really been a thing for me. So yeah, so overall the pros, right? Automaticity, sensoricity, cool looking humidifier-icity, and a large tank capacity. Oh yeah, I also like the fact that you can like see sort of the water tank. It looks kind of cool. Okay, so let's moving on to what I hate about this humidifier, right? Right. So let me. Okay, so it's off. So when it's off, you'll see this little like red button or light here. I don't think that you can see it. But the worst thing about this humidifier is how sucks it is to refill it. Okay, so first you have to take this little thing off. You have to lift this, right? Lift this. Invert it. You have to unscrew this thing right here. And refill. Okay, that's enough for now. Right, I screw it back on. I have to invert it, and sort of there is like a groove sort of thing that this thing has to go back into for it to work. There we go. And then you put this thing. So once the tank has water and it's back on, the humidity will start running. What this thing does is that there are directional, like a sprouts things that will direct where you want the mist, right? So I can direct it all on one side or whatever side your plants are. I really want to love this humidifier, and I think lots and lots of people do love the humidifier. I really just have a problem with the way the filling is. I really think that filling this humidifier is such a pain in the behind. It's a big pain. Because so many people have had this humidifier, you'll come across people who say that it broke down or it didn't work after a certain amount of time. I don't know. I just think that probably because so many people have it, you're kind of bound to find a few people who it doesn't work as well for some people. But I've had this for probably over a year or so, and it's still chugging along fine. Yeah, it still works really well, and filling it up still annoys the heck out of me. All right. So I think we're done with this. There's a lot of reviews on this humidifier online, guys. So yeah, if you want to know more about the buttons or the functions, then look at those, right? Okay, so this one does not have any water in it currently, and when you plug it in or turn it on and it doesn't have water, it does this error red thing. So this one is the Elechomes, right? Elechomes? Oh, not Elechomes. It's Elechomes. Elechomes. No, there's no R. Elechomes. Whatever it is, it's right. Elechomes. So this is also a company, Elechomes, or whatever you pronounce it, is a company of humidifiers, and this is one of their models. I think this is an older one, but I think they have like newer models out there. So this one is probably about the same price as the Levoit, and it also has similar functions. Let me just fill it up. All right, so you can see why I'm talking about this humidifier. Oh, I'm just going to do all the water. This one, there is an automaticity, option just like the Levoit. I didn't add, I don't think I added enough water. So you can fill it up here if you want to clean or you want to take this off, you can do that as well. I would say if we're comparing this to Levoit, which I think is a very good comparison, in terms of the tank capacity, you can't really see the tank on this one, right? But the tank capacity, I would say, is similar. The size, I think the size is pretty similar. They take the same amount of room. Okay, here we go. Much better. They both have a sensor. You can set the humidity level, but you can see that it's. I don't know. Do you like this look better than the Levoit? I'm not sure. If some people do and some people don't. It does look a little boxy, but guys, I mean, top filling. It's so great, right? Like, so you can take your pitcher or whatever filling thingamajiggy you have, and you can just bring that to the humidifier. Or they've even thought, like, if you didn't want to do that, you can bring this little water holding thingamajiggy to your sink or whatever you want to fill, and there we go. And if we put it back in, I mean, come on, this is great. Levoit, you need a top filling humidifier. I love the aesthetic of the Levoit, but I mean, seriously, just filling it is such a pain. Not only do you have to like invert the tank, but to like make sure the grooves fit. This one is just so easy. It's so easy. I have to say that it's so easy. Right. So this one also has a warm and cool mist option. I think there's like you can set like how much or how intense the mist is. There's a sleeper option where you can, I think it turns on and then it's off after like an hour or something if you want to do it that way. So yes, lots of basically very similar options to the Levoit, very similar features, I mean. Do you need an expensive humidifier? Do you need the automaticness? Do you need the humidity sensor? You really don't, unless you feel that you really do. And I mean that as in, like, if this thing or the Levoit brings you a lot of joy, get it, right? Like, you may not need it, but if it really makes you feel happy that, your humidifier turns on and off according to your humidity, and you get a kick out of it, get it. It's worth the money, right? I'm amused by it. Obviously I have a few different types, but I think the two biggest things for me is not so much the automaticity of it, even though there is a use for that. I will try to talk about why it's sort of a little bit useful in another video, but the biggest parts for me are tank capacity and also the ease of filling, right? Because I think that if you're talking about humidifier maintenance, it's just like cleaning, right? And it's also mostly just refilling the water. So doing less cleaning and less refilling the water is a big deal for me. And yes. All right, I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys sort of, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of this. And yeah. Oh, the shirt that I have, it's a shirt of leaves. And I have it on my Amazon store and also on Teespring or Spree, which should be on your YouTube page somewhere. And all right, yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for your support. Till next time, happy planting.